Welcome to Grim Dark Gains, a bi-weekly podcast where we help you ascend from a peasant into a Grail Knight. Today, we are going to answer some of your fitness and hobby questions. But before we dive into today's topic, we will chat about our life, lifting, and hobby. Hello, Eli.
Hello, Alex.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm very well. A little bit hot. It's a little bit hot
Yeah,
outside,
yep,
but can't
yep,
complain.
yep. Fair.
Summertime.
So there's no AC in your dwelling.
No, I have AC.
Okay, all right, all
No, it's
right.
not as
Okay,
cold
good.
as usual because it has to be keeping up. But it's quite nice.
Hmm.
Is it cold where you're at, or is it warm? Is it
No,
hot?
it's all right. It's getting hot again. It rained, which is rare for around here, so that was really nice. But yeah, it's hot, and I think Manitoba and Saskatchewan are having fire stuff, so we're not allowed to have fires
Oh,
here. But
jeez.
yeah,
Goodness. Do you get
yeah,
fires off in the wildfires?
yeah. Generally, there's at least one every year. I feel like so. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. I
yeah,
have
it's
a
fine.
friend who is a wild firefighter, so
Hmm.
he might be there right now helping
Well,
out.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
All right.
How's that been treating you? Any new updates with life, hobby, fitness?
Well, as you know, my wife and I are moving out, um, so that's been busy. Getting all that stuff done. That's probably taken most of my hobby time, unfortunately, as I've had to put everything in a corner in a box so that the landlord here can show this place to people. But that's all right. It'll be worth it. Moving into our own place will be very nice. So, yep.
I'm guessing hobbying is going to be a little bit down for you in the next
Yeah.
month or so.
Yeah, it might be, unfortunately. I did
Oh,
finally buy my Fulgrim and Lucius for
heck
40K.
yeah.
It's been sitting at the hobby store for like a month, but I didn't want to buy anything while we were waiting for the mortgage people to work our stuff out, so because that was
Sure,
pretty
sure, sure.
agonizing process, but it's
Your
fine.
wife might be a little upset with you if the reason you couldn't mortgage because you bought a new folder model. Uh,
Priorities.
yeah,
But yeah,
priorities. Good.
I mean, I built some in a little bit of bolt action, nothing crazy there. I built a flamethrower team, and they were fun. I played a bolt action game, forgot to take pictures, but it was a fun game. And most recently, I've played Lord of the Rings because the new Lord of the Rings Armies book has been leaked. At least a large amount of it has been
Finally,
leaked.
finally.
And Tabletop Admiral, which is like the list builder for Middle Earth, already has
Yep,
the leaked rules on it. So we were
awesome.
able to make a list pretty easily and try it out. I played the Easterlings. I guess I can pull out pictures.
Yeah, let's
Guess
see
I'll have
it.
to do that. It was Easterlings versus dwarves, and dwarves are pretty cracked now. Dwarves are actually pretty good.
Good.
They've been buffed a lot, which is nice because Khazad-dûm was having a hard time in the last edition. I don't know if they're like extremely good yet in this one, but it was still fun. His Hearthguard are now fight 5, and they basically quartered my entire army by themselves because we were playing Heirlooms of Ages Past, so it was Maelstrom deployment, and I rolled better than him. So I deployed my entire army uh, that then fought one of his warbands, and I massacred his warband. And then my army took on Durin and his Hearthguard, and the Durin and his Hearthguard quartered my army by themselves. I did win because I dug up the heirloom and I just protected it. Amdur ended up wounding Durin. He almost killed him. He got him down to 1 wound, but he made his 6+ feel no pain Durin save, which
That's
was,
awesome.
yeah.
I love that.
My Dragon Knight massacred a lot of dwarves, but yeah, Fight 5 Hearthguard are nothing. No, they're no
Five
joke.
five. Wow,
Yeah,
for just a foot troop. That's pretty great.
they are good. They
My,
really
my
needed a
Moria
buff
Goblins
though.
are fight two.
Yeah, yeah. I do have Fight 5 Easterlings now though, because I have Black Dragons and they don't have to be in the Dragon Emperor Legion anymore, which is nice. The only thing
Cool.
is, the Dragon Emperor's Legion is way better than Amdur's army, which is very disappointing. But it's not surprising. And I'm still gonna play Amdur because he's awesome. He's the Lord of
Sure.
Blades, Herald of Victory. He's always really cool. So yeah, I think that was most of my hobby. Uh, just a good Lord of the Rings game. What about
The
you?
Dragon Emperor, is he an actual lore for Lord of the
No,
Rings?
no,
Is he what's
none,
made up?
none of the Easterling characters are in lore. They're all made up. Uh,
That's unfortunate. I
yeah,
mean, still cool, but
yeah. There's
I
not a
wonder
whole
how
lot
they
for them.
how they got the license to do that. Like, hey, we're only gonna get characters, but only for a game, for a tabletop
Yeah,
game.
I don't know. I feel like it would be easier that way, to just make up their own characters. They don't have to actually get any
Right.
license for them, I
That's
imagine.
right.
But
Yeah, it is pretty cool though. Do they
yeah,
have lore in the? Well, you probably haven't seen the book yet, but do they have
kind
lore for it?
kind of. I think in their like profiles they have like a
Sure.
couple sentences maybe. Uh,
Okay, good.
but yeah, none of the Easterling characters are actually in the lore, but they don't really
Sure.
have any Easterling characters to bring out from the lore, so they had to do something.
Right.
And they're all really
Right.
cool. I like them. The Dragon Emperor's model is really great. It's just
You're gonna Penguin, right?
yeah, he's just
Yeah.
he's fourth world, so they make him meta and they make him really good. And if everyone
Sure.
wants to play this model, I don't want to play it. It's lame then to me, and I'd rather just play the Amdur, the goat, the guy I've always relied on. And I played with the Emperor when I was a noob when I first started playing the game, and I just printed off like a my own Emperor and stuff. And he's
Sure.
fun to
Sure.
play. It's kind of just like a pike wall, and you move forwards, and you're just better than everyone, so you just win unless they have a specific army. So I don't really enjoy it, but
You're
yeah,
not really a meta chaser in
no,
Middle Earth.
no, I'm not a mad
Good.
chaser in anything.
Good.
I think it's
Good.
way
Good.
cooler to just make your own list and win.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cataphracts did good. Cataphracts are cool cavalry for the Easterlings. They're really expensive. They're 15 points a guy. And they're only fight four, which everyone is kind of fight four now. So they're kind of they don't have any punch. They don't have lances or anything, but they are high defense. They have shield wall, so their armored
Okay.
horses become defense six, and the guys on the horses become defense seven if they're in shield wall formation. So yeah, it's pretty decent.
Pretty good. I
Yeah,
like that.
the Dragon Knights got kind of nerfed and kind of buffed at the same time. They're more expensive now, but they give plus one fight to Black Dragon models, which is decent. They don't have strike, and they used to have strike, but they still have three
Nice.
attacks. So they're a fight six, three attack model for like 70 points, which is pretty good. You can put
Nice.
them on a horse, but then they're 95 points because horses are really expensive now. Um, I don't know. I thought that they did well in my phalanx. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
I saw that the rules leaked as well for the new book,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at Moria, not
Mm-hmm.
the depths of Moria, but actual Moria,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's so cool.
yeah.
I love
I
it.
haven't
They have
seen
like
it.
all the shamans, they have the beasts. You can bring dragons in the army. Funny enough, you cannot bring Balrog in the
Oh,
Moria army.
wow.
You can bring it in depths of Moria, which is like
Yeah,
four different options or five different options for
yeah.
units. But no, it's super cool. I'm pretty excited. I really want to
Mm.
play with the beasts. I want to add some
Yeah,
spiders and
they are
wargs and
really
bats.
good. Spiders are really
They
good.
they do look really good and really fun. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to like add some beasts, and I
yeah.
still want to run a horde. I want like a bunch of goblins. I might even drop trolls and like bring
Nice.
more goblins and
Yeah.
bring beasts and some shamans. Could be
Yeah,
fun.
nice. I guess other news, other opinions on the new book. Corsairs got shafted immensely. They still suck. The best Corsair army are armies with no Corsairs in it. Um, a Corsair is 9 points, and they're defense three and fight four. So,
That
yeah,
is ridiculous.
yeah. You can for
Wow.
9 points, you can have a dwarf ranger with a strength three bow, shoot value of three plus, and plus one to wound people in difficult terrain with defense
Why are they that
five. And I don't know, GW is just silly. They're also the same points as a Mirkwood elf, I believe. The ones who are good at shooting.
That's
Uh,
ridiculous. That's so silly.
yeah, it's tough. Fiefdoms also lost a lot of stuff. My friend's unhappy about that. My friend plays fiefdoms and was making a Corsairs army, and those two armies probably lost the most in this edition, so it's tough. Uh,
Oh my goodness.
Rangers, everyone's really mad about Rangers because they didn't buff them, just like the like Aragorn's Rangers, those type of
Right,
guys.
right.
They were really bad last edition, and they did not buff them at all this edition, despite buffing everyone else. So they're even worse this edition. Basically, one could say unplayable even, but
That's unfortunate. Well,
yeah,
you bring Corsairs and you fight them against
yeah,
Rangers.
exactly,
You
exactly.
said.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
like the Rangers. I played them last edition, and I really like the Grey Company. So I have an army, and I was really hoping that they would actually get playable rules this time. Um, but no, all they got was they can move full through difficult terrain, and that's all they got.
wow.
They're still
Wow.
a
That is,
25
hey, if you
point
have a lot of
model.
forests, it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
strong.
They're a 25 point model for one wound and fight four. So they have a fate technically. They have a might, will, and fate, but it doesn't really matter. So.
It's just one, so it's not going to actually contribute.
And when you're fight four, you're
Yeah.
not exactly getting a lot of mileage out of that. So
Right,
because
right.
even Gondor warriors are fight 4 now. So.
Yeah, my friend who ran the Middle Earth tournament last weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend before
Mm-hmm.
that, he brought Rangers,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually didn't tell us, but he just brought extra points. He brought like 520 points instead of 500, and he
Wow.
still lost.
Wow.
Right? So he was like, it's my event. I brought my list. I cheated. It still lost. It doesn't matter."
That's crazy. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. He won a couple
Wow.
games. He won a couple
Mm.
games, but
Wow. Trolling.
Sounds like a good time, man. I'm excited to play more Middle Earth and make
Yeah,
more
me
lists
too.
for the more books. There's so many armies now in that faction,
Yes, there
like
is.
in that
Yes, there
game.
is. I'm most excited for the Grand Army of the South because it's Easterlings, Corsairs, and Serpent Horde all put together. Well, Harad technically is what they are now. But yeah, I'm excited to make some like Easterling pike wall with Serpent Horde skirmishers and stuff like that. And you can even throw in Corsair crossbows. So yeah, pretty cool.
Sure, sure. That sounds fun. I like it,
Mm-hmm.
and I do like that. Even though you have the same units, different armies will give them different benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like that a
I
lot.
think,
So
yeah, it's unfortunate though that I cannot. They've separated the Easterling special characters into two different armies. So if I want to play with Amdur, he's the only special character I get, and I can't bring Brogir or Rutabi. Not that I would want to do the Dragon Emperor, but I can't bring him either. But I like Rutabi and Amdur in the same army is pretty cool, and it's not possible now. And that means if you want to bring Rutabi, you have to bring the Dragon Emperor. You can't actually have an army with just Rutabi and Brogir because they're in the Dragon Emperor list, and the Dragon Emperor list says the Dragon Emperor has to be a general. So you're just screwed. But yeah, thank
well,
you, GW.
hey, at least you can play them. At least you
Yeah,
can play them.
yeah,
I was when they first released the game, I was initially worried that they just killed a bunch of those factions, and they
yeah.
sure they killed some units, but
Hmm.
most of them it seems like you can play again. So I'm
Yep,
I'm pretty
yep.
excited for that.
I'm actually most excited for the Legacy book to come out,
Oh,
because
sure.
that'll have like the Golden King, which I'm really excited for, and some elf heroes that my friend wants. Yeah,
Who's the Golden King?
he's a he's a Far Harad guy. He's
Mm.
a really bad. He's really bad, but he's really
He's
cool.
really bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's he's like carried on a
Sure.
palanquin with four merchant guard from the Serpent Horde, and when a character makes a courage check for breaking or just a courage check in general, he can like tempt them with riches and spend some of his will to lower their courage check roll by a certain amount. He's fun.
Cool.
He sucks, but he's
That's
fun.
yeah. Play nerdy games.
Yep. Yep.
Cool, man. Oh, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I after going to a tournament the week before, I went to another tournament this past weekend
Mm-hmm.
in Akron, Ohio.
Nice.
I was at Akron Brew Brawl, and it was kind of a GT, but a small scale GT. So
Mm-hmm.
there were three tournaments going at the same time. There
Mm-hmm.
was an Old World tournament, a 40K tournament, and an Age of Sigmar tournament.
Wow. Lots of
And I
pictures.
think Old World had the biggest turnout with 20 players.
Dang.
I think 40K might have
There's
had also about 20, and then AOS had like 10. It was pretty small.
wow.
But yeah,
Cool.
so you know how last week I painted a full army the day before the tournament
Yeah.
and stayed up
I
and got
assume
like,
this picture is means the same thing happened.
yep, that's exactly the same thing happened. Literally
Oh
the
my
same thing.
gosh.
Started painting an army the day before we had to leave.
Bro,
The day
I can't
before we
believe
had to
that.
leave. I'm just a sucker, glutton for punishment, man. So
Unbelievable.
I sat down to paint an army. Now it is Zenithal Prime, so that was already done.
Hmm.
I sat down to paint an army. I believe I started around 2 p.m. I believe it was around 2 p.m. It might have been slightly earlier, but I had a bunch of things I had to do in between. I had a client call, I had a
Hmm.
podcast, I had some things. And I had Alex there in the
Yep.
picture help me out. Alex is our art guy
Yep.
for Grimdark Games. He
Hmm.
created an art for us. And Alexandra's Wargaming on Instagram.
Hmm.
Check him out. Great guy, a
Yep.
friend of mine. And he said he was with me. He was working on his art for a couple hours while I was painting.
Hmm.
So in total, it took me 11 and a half hours
Oh my gosh, man.
to finish painting that army.
Was it one sitting? Is that one
It
sitting?
was kind of one sitting. I took breaks, right? I
Mm-hmm.
took an hour break here, half an hour break here. At some point I was so stiff from just sitting in this position for so long, my elbows were hurting.
Oh
So
yeah.
like not touching anything, they were just in this
Yeah.
position. So I did a bit of cardio, I did like 20 minutes of cardio just to like wake up a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it was fun, like in hindsight, right? But
Uh-huh.
during it, there were multiple points where I almost broke.
Yeah.
I'm like, and the thing is, this tournament does not require a painted army.
Wow. Wow.
But I don't want to be the person who brings an unpainted army to a
Yeah.
tournament. I
Understandable.
don't want to be that guy. I think unpainted armies are perfectly fine. I think you should enjoy them. I think you should play with them. But
Mm.
if you're going to a tournament that's not just your friends in the basement, I think you should paint an army,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So what other excuse will you have to paint an army,
Yeah.
right? So long as
Fair.
it's just your
That's
friends
true.
hanging out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I almost broke a couple times. I was like, is this worth it? This is stupid. I'm gonna get 4 hours of sleep. What am I
Oh
doing?
my gosh.
Right.
How late did you stay up?
I stayed up till I believe 4,
Bro.
and
Oh my gosh.
and then I woke up and I had to, and I still timed it. I had to finish flocking and painting the rims.
Gee.
So technically it was 2 days, but it was within
Unbelievable.
very well within 24-hour period. So I'm fine with the one day.
I feel like you'd have a much better tournament experience if you just did this like the week before or something. I don't know.
So that is true, but you don't realize I'm a procrastinator.
I've done the same thing. I can't really judge.
And this is not the worst I've done. I've done it in a way where I was literally painting the day of the event, like before the event
Yeah.
started. So
Oh
this is
my
not the
gosh.
worst experience. And
Yep.
my saving grace was also the fact that we left a day early. Right, so the
Mm.
tournament started on Saturday.
Okay.
We left
Okay.
Friday around noon,
Yep.
and no, around 2, and so I just went to bed early.
Okay.
So I
Then
still
that's
got
not
my eight
so bad.
hours. It's really not that bad. It's just the day off was my last day to actually paint, right,
Mm.
before we left.
Yep.
So I was literally, it was funny. I finished painting 15 minutes before we had to leave.
My
So
gosh.
like I think we're leaving at 2,
Mm-hmm.
and at like 1:45, because I went to bed at 4. I obviously slept till like, I don't know, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And I finished painting like 15 minutes before because the rims and the flocking took way longer than I thought it would.
Yeah. Hmm.
So anyway, that was fun. It was
Yeah.
a good experience. Now I have a fully painted Orc and Goblin army,
Yeah. Very nice.
about
It
3,000
looks
points.
yeah,
I
it
would say.
looks pretty cool. Uh
Thanks, man.
yeah, will you ever bring models that you already owned to a tournament that were already painted? You don't have to paint a new army every time.
Well, maybe. If there is another old world tournament, I think my main army is going to be goblins.
Mm,
But there's
mm.
also every chance I'm just going to add more models to
I mean,
it.
yeah, it's
So,
fair, but maybe
but
you'll
at
get
the
to a
same
point where at least half the army is already painted.
That's what
Uh,
I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. And to be fair, I did have half my army already painted. So I
okay.
just had another half. Yeah, this was not my full army. It's just the
Oh,
fact that goblins are such a high count army that
yeah.
this looks like a full army, but it's not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, tournaments are an amazing excuse to just buy more models and make a new army, and I've used that excuse many times, so I can't really be hating.
And if I'm honest, outside of like high school when I had a bunch of time to paint minis,
Mhm.
this is the way I get my armies done,
Yeah, yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, you just have the motivation. You just have the motivation to get it done.
yeah. That's understandable.
So, yeah. And as far as games, the tournament was obviously a standard 5 games tournament,
Hmm.
3 games on day 1 and 2 games on day 2.
Hmm.
I'll run for them quickly. If you want a more thorough breakdown of them, Strength Hammer and I are going to talk about our games because
Nice.
Chuck from Strength Hammer was here. So if you want to check it out, you can go to Strength Hammer Podcast and we'll
Hmm.
talk about them. But I'll give you a brief rundown. I went 2-3 at a tournament.
Hmm.
So I won 2 games, lost 3 games.
Hmm.
The first game was against Abe. So my round 1 game was against the guy who ended up winning the whole event.
Dang, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Did you lose your round one then?
I lost my round 1.
Ah,
So I don't know if I do have a picture of the same game, and you can see I literally never left my deployment zone.
oh, that's tragic.
Yeah,
Is he
that was rough.
Bretonia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Britannia. And Britannia is really good right now. It's one of the few armies
Oh,
who can charge turn 1.
turn one charge. I hate that. That
Yeah.
should not be a mechanic in any game ever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, it was my first game at a tournament,
Mm,
and I'm not rusty. We played a lot, but it's still, the nervousness is there, and like, you're trying to get it in, and you're not
mm,
sure. When we practice, we don't have a time limit, so I'm always worried, am I gonna not have enough time to play a full game? So
yeah.
I'm like deploying, but I could have taken a bit more time, deployed better,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's how it goes. I've lost a tournament game in the deployment phase, and I
absolutely.
still feel bad about it.
Right, right. So I still think I didn't have a chance. So this guy played with this army 150 games,
Oh my gosh.
right? So he
What the
is
heck?
he actually writes for Old World
Bruh.
on Bell of Lost Souls.
Holy.
Yes. So he's a very good guy. Like he got me a beer after the game. He was a
Nice.
great,
Nice.
awesome, I mean every game was great at this event, but he
Hmm.
was a really, really great guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, boy, did I get my face stomped,
Yeah,
right?
I
I got my
imagine.
teeth. My teeth are still in the back of my throat, man. It was a rough game, very fun. I learned a lot,
Hmm.
and I knew my army rules well enough. Like a couple times, he asked me, like, "Hey, you sure about that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And then I showed it to him. So I knew my army really well. I could have played better,
Mm.
but yeah, no, this was a very, very hard game. In the end, I got about 600 points, and he got 2350, which is as
Oh,
much as you can from my army.
that's tough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tough.
But it was a fun game. So game
Yeah.
two, I played against my friend John.
Hmm.
So here, a guy in a cap. Shout out to John. He lost 60 pounds recently.
Wow.
He
Nice.
he is working out 7 days a week resistance training.
Jeez.
So
Holy cow.
he is killing it,
That's
man. So he
awesome.
is looking really good. He's smashing it. He was playing vampire counts.
Nice. Good man. Good man.
Very fun list.
Hmm.
He brought a list that I think I would bring. So,
Nice.
which is infantry and monster heavy.
Yeah.
So
That's
he had a
epic.
lot of troops and he had three monsters.
Nice. Nice.
Unfortunately for him, my magic worked really well. So everything just went my way.
Hmm.
I cast every spell.
Yeah.
My artillery did amazing. I killed one of his monsters turn one with
Oh
my
man.
artillery.
Yeah, your
I
this
felt
artillery squig looks
awful.
pretty cool. Whatever it is.
Yes.
Just
So the way that artillery works is it's a scatter template,
yeah.
right? So it scatters, but with the artillery that I have, Doom Divers, you can move it back up to 3 inches.
Yeah.
So even if I miss by a little bit, I can usually, and because they're such big bases,
Hmm.
it's almost always going to land. Like you have a 50-50 chance to land it,
Yeah.
which is not usual. It's not normal.
Mm.
And I did land both of them, and they killed the full monster in a turn, which was
Dang. I guess they do
was
multiple wounds, I imagine.
they do multiple
Yeah.
wounds, D3 plus one, and those
Yeah.
monsters are only 6 wounds, I believe.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it didn't take much. I got
Wow.
slightly lucky, and
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
tough. Tough for the
So,
vampires. You're also a actual army, and he's an index army, right?
yeah, so that's another thing is vampire counts are probably one of the more competitive legend armies,
Yeah.
but it's still not that good. Another thing happened is because I did have artillery that can technically snipe heroes. Usually you're not able to because of Lookout's bird.
Oh. Yeah,
He
because it hits
also
everything under the. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he put his hero in a big block, which I
Mm.
also charged. So it's funny how I say charging turn one of the few armies you can charge turn one. I can technically also charge turn one
What the heck?
if I
All
get
the
the right
turn one
spell
charge.
off. It's not supposed to be orcs and goblins shouldn't be able to do it,
Yeah.
but there's a few units like cave squigs or mangler
Mm.
squigs who theoretically can if they roll high enough
Okay. All right.
and with the right spell going off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unlikely, but it is possible.
Mm.
And I rolled very hard and charged his unit and killed his killed his like
Man.
general in one in
Oh my
combat.
gosh.
And then
Do
his army
vampires just
starts.
die if you lose your
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it still
start
works like
crumbling.
that. Yeah.
They start crumbling. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was a very fun game. He was a gentleman. He was very sweet. He
Nice.
actually ended up being my favorite opponent vote, and he
Nice.
won the best sports.
Nice.
But
Yep.
yes, it was definitely
Man.
a win for the
I got
Goblins.
I gotta stop looking at these pictures. You're making me want to go buy a whole new army right now.
You should, man.
No,
Yeah, you should. Overall world scene is great, and I was talking to everybody. Everybody had great games.
yeah.
It's a great scene.
I just gotta. The reality is, I need to reality check myself. All I actually have to do is go take a container out of storage, and it just
Do it.
would require a lot of painting. But
Just rebase it.
it's all
Rebase it,
there.
paint it, done.
I just want an
Just sign up,
actual.
sign up for a tournament,
I want an
and
actual
2 days
book
before paint
though.
an army.
Yeah, yeah. I want an actual book for my dark elves and vampires, though. It feels bad,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
my dark elves.
Vampires are not bad right now.
I have like all the characters for my dark elves, and none of them exist in this setting. It seems
But you can
so.
make your own characters.
Yeah, it's true.
Um,
It's true. What are
on
you
a
gonna do?
picture there, I had Mike stop in and get me an energy drink. Mike is a fellow Warhammer nerd. He
Nice.
got me a ghost, which is very
Very
good.
nice.
And then my game three was against another friend, Cole,
hmm
and this was my another win. And yeah, I'm not gonna say a whole lot about this game, but the fact
hmm
that Empire is probably the worst book available right now.
Uh, dang. And they have an actual army book?
They have an actual army book, and I would say
That's
they're
tough.
worse than a few of the
Dang.
legend ones.
Dang.
It's hard. And yeah, we played before. We even talked about it, and we talked how can we can make a competitive list. And we tried to make a competitive
Mm,
list with him, and this was his competitive list. And
yep.
after the game, I told him, "Hey, if I played with your army against you with my army, I
Mm,
don't know how I would win.
wow. Yeah.
Like I just
That
literally
sucks.
don't know.
That
Unless you play
sucks. Oh,
stupid,
man.
it
Yeah.
was rough.
It's
It was rough.
probably, you probably have to find like one gimmick and then spam it for an army like that, I imagine.
Yeah, you
Which is
can do
so
heavy
lame, but
artillery. Yeah. There's just not they just don't have the problem with Empire is they just don't have one thing they do well,
yeah. But they're
right?
supposed to be
Like
just slightly good at everything. That's the point.
which is exactly what they tried to be, but it just doesn't work.
Well, they should
Because
have
all the other armies,
better firepower than everyone other than dwarves. I imagine is what they should have.
right, but the
But
problem is you just take dwarves then.
yeah,
Right? You
I
just take dwarves.
know. But then dwarves
So
should be
it's
slow, and Empire should be able to still be fast. I don't. I feel like there should
yeah,
be some. They
there
probably just
should
need to
be
balance
something.
it better. But yeah,
There should be something. Yeah, they're not great right now. Cole did end up winning one game in the tournament against Orcs and Goblins,
nice.
but yeah, it was Empire. I do not want to play them
Mm,
partially for that reason is because you're just going to lose every game at a
dang,
competitive level. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
And
tough.
even the game he won, arguably the guy playing him was a bit newer.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
It's
So that's
too
all my
bad.
wins though.
Yep. Well,
We have a
you did the submarine strat, as they say. You lose the first game, so then you get to fight easier opponents, and then you win your games
right.
after that.
Right. So there's a whole crew at the tournament. We literally brought half the people at this tournament. We had 10 players,
Wow.
and half of
That's
them were from our crew, from all
nice.
over, some from Ohio, some from PA.
Yep. Yep.
And my game four was against Dustin. Dustin was a great player. He played Britonia, a very similar list to my game one opponent,
Mm-hmm.
but he is not as competitive of a player. Like he didn't play 150 games with him.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was a close game.
Nice.
So this game in the end, I lost, but it
Mm.
was a 400 difference lost,
Wow.
which is not a lot,
Yeah.
right? So like I think it was like 1400 points to 1900 points. So
Wow.
this means that if I just managed to like he only had a few knights left in a unit. So if I
Yep.
managed to kill a few more knights or a whole unit of knights and they were fleeing,
Mm.
I would have gotten another like 300 points,
Wow.
which then it's a tie if you're within 100 points, right?
Cool.
So it was a very close game. A lot of fun things happened. He made mistakes. I made mistakes.
Hmm.
He made good rolls. I made good rolls.
Yep.
It was really fun, really thematic.
Nice. Very nice.
It was great. It was really I still had units on the table afterwards.
Hmm.
He had still units on the table. This game, if I played better, I could have won. But if he played better, he also would have won as well. So
Mm.
I
Yep.
would have
Fair.
won better. But
Huh.
yeah, Britannia is a hard counter to my army. However, this was a game I could have won if I played better. So this one it's purely on me.
Huh. Fair. Are those cannons? Are those regular Bretonian cannons? They look like an ogre
So
thing or something.
Britannia has a exiles list. So it's Bretonian exiles living in the Border Princes. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the
Oh.
lore.
Yeah. My.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So
Interesting.
they don't get the blessing of the lady
Mm-hmm.
as early in the game. There's a way for them to get it, but it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
But they do get access to cannons.
Cool. Huh.
Those cannons are good. Those cannons are way better than regular
Yeah.
cannons. They are actually in game one. They killed both of my artillery pieces with the
Wow.
cannons. Yeah,
Hmm.
this game he did well, but not as well. He killed a couple of heroes, a couple of units,
Mm-hmm.
but wasn't as crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was game four, and my last game was also against my friend Brad,
Ooh, ogres.
and
Ogres.
he was playing Beastmen. So there are
Oh.
dragon ogres and minotaurs. He was
Oh,
in
I see.
chariots.
Cool. It looks like
So
a small army.
one thing I'll say about Brad, and he probably doesn't listen to this podcast, but he might, is he is known in our club as a guy who says he is bringing a fun list,
And then, yeah, I can see where that's
and
coming
then he
from.
wins the whole tournament, right?
Yeah, that's classic.
And then he
That's a
storms through.
classic archetype. Oh my gosh, that
Yes.
your food in this picture looks very good, by the way. Some like fried food
Thank you,
and
thank you,
beer.
thank
Wow.
you. It was great. So yeah, it was awesome because for your ticket you got a beer, one beer a day, and a meal.
Dang,
And it was only like $75 for the 2-day tournament.
fun.
So it was a really good deal. So yeah, that game, I had maybe a small chance of winning, right? I
Hmm.
wasn't stump-faced,
Hmm.
but I think I played a very good game.
Yeah,
I could have maybe positioned myself a bit further because we
yeah.
were pretty close. So I could have positioned myself not to allow his units to get couple of them to get to me as early.
Hmm.
But I think I really played, it was a game five, so I already kind of knew my faults and my weaknesses against competitive players.
Hmm.
And boy, did I get curb stomped.
Dang.
It was, so I did get about 1,300 points of kill points, so I
Hmm.
killed a bunch of things. But in the end, he wiped my whole army.
Yeah, I
Uh,
imagine these big dragon ogre guys just
so
stomp through
tough.
everything.
Oh, tough.
Yeah.
And in his defense, he could have made, even though this was his quote unquote fun list, he could have actually made it harder hitting,
Hmm.
right? So he could have dropped the chariots and brought another unit of dragon ogres, which are
Mm,
just so hard to move.
yeah.
Like I sent a unit of 5 squigs and a mangler in it, attacked
Hmm.
first, killed two, and then they killed both of my units.
Yeah.
That
Dang.
is ridiculous.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
ridiculously strong, especially
Yeah.
because I charged and they didn't charge. They weren't
Hmm.
even as strong. So
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it's a good army, good list. I could have played better. I could have been a bit more defensive,
Hmm.
and that would potentially allowed me to maybe sneak out maybe a draw, maybe a minor win.
Hmm.
But yeah, what a good army that is. It,
Yeah.
it was it was really strong.
Glad to hear the beastmen are playable. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and Beastmen also have a new book coming out,
Yeah.
and it sounds, from the leaks that we've heard about it, it sounds phenomenal.
Wow.
Like
Interesting.
really, really strong. So I'm excited
Is
for Beastmen to be good.
hmm. Has each book been better than the last one generally, or is it actually somewhat
No, because
balanced?
Victoria was the first one to come out,
And they're the best.
and
Yeah, I
they're
guess.
still really good.
Okay.
And Empire and Orcs and Goblins were after, and Empire is just not good.
Yeah. Okay. Fair
Maybe
enough.
maybe somebody will find out a list with the Empire
Yeah.
to be good.
And are these your winnings? These
Oh,
goblins and
yes, yes, in a
earthlings?
way. They didn't have a painting competition, but
Hmm.
what they did have is a raffle for anybody who had a painted army.
Oh, nice,
And I won.
nice.
I won the raffle for a painted army. So it was cool.
Well, so it was worth it.
11 and a half
It
hours
was
worth
it
it,
was
yeah.
worth it. Wow,
Oh, goodness. So it
cool.
was a good time, really good event. Really enjoyed. You should play Old World.
I
Everybody should
want
play
to.
Old
I
World.
want to. It's not a big thing down here though. That's the
Just
problem.
start it, man. Just start it. Start your own.
Oh, it's hard to ask my friends to spend $800 on a new
Ah,
game.
man.
It was a lot easier for us to start like bolt action because it's like $100 to $200 for your whole army, but it's
I can
harder
3D
to.
print it.
True, that's true.
It's very, very well accepted in the community to 3D
Yeah.
print. A lot of players have
Uh,
3D printed armies.
I'd like to get into it. Freaking Heimlich Kemmler is looking at me from my desk, and Loki or Fellhart. They're
Good,
judging
man.
me. They
Good.
know I need to play, even though they're not in the game right now, which is very
And
sad.
it's
But
level 4 Necromancer, you're
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we should get into our questions.
Yes, we should.
This hobby segment was a bit longer than usual just because a lot of hobby recently. But yeah, let's answer the first question. We have J Berry SF
Hmm.
asking two questions. So first of all is who are science-based lifters? And we'll get into the next question after that. So who are science-based lifters, Eli?
I mean, I feel like there's not an
Nerds,
actual. Well,
dweebs.
yeah, nerds and dweebs. Let's be real. Don't think there's an actual definition. They're not like a type of actual, like an actually type of person, but science-based lifters are people who would probably claim that they base all of their training and fitness and nutrition knowledge purely off of what the science says And
Scientific literature.
they would generally base off what they would generally base those things off of literature and studies, which includes new studies and old studies. But yeah, they pay attention. They pay a lot of attention to the science, and I don't know. I've probably said it on here before. I have my own gripes with exercise science, but I'd say
Sure,
that's the general. I've
because you are an
gone.
exercise science major.
Yeah, I've been in the exercise science program. I know how much baloney there is. But yes, that's probably what I would say a science based lifter is. They go off of data and empirical evidence. I don't know if that's the right word,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
but they take that a lot more than anecdotal evidence. And I
Yes.
yeah, but in the fitness world, I think anecdotal evidence can actually be very very useful.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think a couple of big ones are people like Jeff Nippard and Dr. Mike is Israetel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I think Eli and I have maybe slightly different positions on science-based lifting. I would consider myself a science-based lifter because I think anybody is who follows an effective lifting protocol is to a certain extent a science-based lifter.
Mm-hmm.
Not because they read studies, but because for it to be effective, you need to have some basic principles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you want to be doing big, heavy compound movements instead of just isolation all the time.
Yep.
Hey, you probably want to get progressively stronger over time. And we have science-backed literature to support that it's legitimate,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you want to train that way. Where science-based lifting can go too far, and I 100% agree and see it, is when you start getting nitty-gritty, nitpicky about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? With like this variation of a bicep curl at this angle and this position is the best. And I'm like,
It
it's
doesn't.
probably good,
Yeah.
but it's not, you don't have to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, like we can see Jeff Jeff Nippert and that other guy. So I think he has Wolf in his name. Uh, he was they he's like obsessed with the like stretched lengthened partials or whatever, and
Yep.
they did their own study. They funded their own study, and they found that it doesn't matter. That it was all
Right.
the same,
It's cool,
and that's
which is
the
very
yeah.
cool.
It's cool. It's just at the end of the day, the general thing that exercise science finds almost every single time is that it doesn't really matter, and that it depends on the person, and that pretty much everything that we already learned 30 years ago is all we actually need to make progress.
The big principles, the big concepts,
You can even
right?
look at that in bodybuilding. Bodybuilders have not gotten bigger or better in the last 30 years. Like just look at guys like Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and
Right,
all those
right.
guys. We have not gotten bigger than that.
Not
Uh,
bigger than them.
and
No,
we
no, no,
like
for sure.
even like
Sure.
Arnold's time, we really haven't gotten much better. It's a genetics game at the end of the day for
Conditioning. Yeah.
bodybuilding. Um, yeah. So
Yeah. No, I agree.
a lot of the science that we've learned is very old, and a lot of the new stuff that comes out generally finds that it doesn't matter. But a lot of science based lifters like to take the new things that come out because it gets them views, and then talk
Swear by
about
it,
it, and
right?
then swear by it, and say you should do
Yeah.
this because this
This
is
is the only way.
missing out on this is killing your gains, and you have to do this new thing, and you have to watch my video, and yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and those trends just keep happening. And once you've been in it long enough, you kind of recognize the pattern, right?
yeah.
A lot of it is just clickbait. Reality
Mm-hmm.
is anybody who is an effective lifter to a certain extent follows science-based lifting,
Mm-hmm.
but not the science-based lifting as we see it in social media.
Yeah, and the unfortunate reality of fitness is your biggest driver of progress is genetics. At the
Yeah,
end of the day, it's a hard truth to swallow, but it is true. Uh,
100%.
you can everyone should strive to be the best that they can be. The reality is you could dedicate every hour of your life to bodybuilding, and you'll never look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or
Right.
Ronnie Coleman or any of
Or
those
Steve,
guys,
yeah,
unless you
absolutely.
are the 0.1%. Then you will
Yeah,
look like them. But for
yeah,
like me and Alex, we will not. We just
yeah.
just not put together the
And the
same way.
best way to do so is look at natural bodybuilding shows
Mm-hmm.
and just see the regular people who do it. And you
Mm-hmm.
look at their genetics, at their lean physique at like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5% body fat.
Mm-hmm.
And they look shredded, they look great, but they don't look phenomenal like the
Yeah.
best athletes in the
Yeah.
world do,
Yeah.
right?
But then there's the one guy who looks like he's been taking roids for 10 years, but
Yeah.
he's natural, and
Yeah.
it's just
Genetics
genetics
are
at the
really,
end of the
I
day.
mean, look at Ronnie Coleman before he ever took steroids.
Yeah, he's
Just
still jacked.
wild,
He's still jacked. It's
ridiculously
like
wild. Like looks
unbelievable.
like
Yeah.
on steroids last 10 years.
Yeah.
That guy.
Well,
So
exactly.
now it's
It's just
ridiculous.
how it is, and we can all kind of carry the same amount of muscle mass. It's just more depending on your insertions and your muscle lengths, and like you will
Yeah,
look completely different than another guy, even if you have the same amount of muscle. That's just kind
yeah,
of how it is. But
100%.
yeah.
All right, his second question is our opinion on CrossFit and
Mm-hmm.
kettlebells.
Mm-hmm.
So how about you take CrossFit and I can talk about kettlebells. What
Sure.
do you think?
I'm not that learned in CrossFit, but I think it gets a lot more hate than it really needs to get. But I think a lot of the hate also comes because in the like earlier 2000s, 2010s, whatever, people who did CrossFit made sure you knew that they did CrossFit, and it was a very annoying, like cult-ish
Vegans.
trend. Yeah, it was very much like that. So I know why it gets hate because it is kind of culty. And when I hear how much these people are paying to go to their CrossFit gyms, I'm like, why would you ever do this? It's like
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. It's the what they pay in a month is probably what I pay in a year for my gym membership. CrossFit is also a bit dangerous compared to regular lifting. It is very much, it's a lot more injury provoking. You're moving
Yes.
your body in very explosive, like wacky manners that is not the safest thing to do. That being said, professional CrossFitters are jacked and they are in great shape and they have better cardio than I ever will. So
Yep.
they're definitely still healthy people. I think you risk more with it. I think it's a bit culty, and I think going to a CrossFit gym is really expensive, and you might as well just go to a regular one. But if it's what gets you out there, and if it's what gets you in shape, then there's nothing wrong with doing CrossFit. I don't think it needs to get all the hate. Um, I think the biggest reason I don't like it is because of how much their gyms charge. Other than that, I don't think it's a big deal. And people always
Yep.
hate on their pull up form, and it's like, who cares? It doesn't actually matter. Like,
And the thing is,
whatever.
they could probably do a good number of proper
Yeah,
pull-ups.
yeah,
It's just they train butterfly pull-ups. So
yeah,
it's, yeah, I
yeah,
agree. It's a silly thing to hate on.
yeah,
They also have a cool sense of community. So
yeah.
if you
It's
need
true.
community for the gym, that's one
Yeah,
thing is like you're always gonna have people cheering you on,
yeah.
people showing up.
Yeah,
So
and
it is cool.
I bet their events are quite fun,
I bet they are. Yeah.
and it's probably a lot more accessible than something like strongman or powerlifting or bodybuilding. It doesn't take like to do that just for fun. Probably doesn't
Yes.
take grueling amounts of horrific
Yeah.
dieting and training like pretty much every
Yes.
other. Well, powerlifting doesn't really, in my opinion. No hate to powerlifters. I've done both now, and bodybuilding is harder.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I
um,
would agree with you.
yeah. But anyways, I think it's a good thing to get into if you have lots of money and time. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I mean, Murph is technically a CrossFit, right? A
mm-hmm.
workout, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a fun thing to do every year on
Yeah,
I think it's Memorial Day.
yeah,
So yeah, great thing. And as far as kettlebells, my opinion is if you want to get good at kettlebells, do kettlebells.
mm-hmm.
And if you have any other reason to work out, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Some of the
I
movements
mean,
are good, like kettlebell thrusts are a good movement.
yeah, but just do
But
our
yeah,
deals, right?
I know it
So
is kind of gimmicky, but
if your goal is to get better at kettlebell movements, right, and maybe you don't want to do separate mobility sessions and exercise sessions with resistance training, it's fine. But if your goal is to just generally get stronger and build a good physique, I don't think they're that helpful
mm,
because literally every movement with kettlebell would be more effective without a kettlebell.
yeah,
So like kettlebell presses, just get a dumbbell,
yeah,
right? Kettlebell rows, I mean, I like what are they called? Kettlebell swings,
yeah.
right? They're cool, but at the same time, for it to be effective, you have to get so many reps. I don't
Or
know.
find
I
a
think
really heavy kettlebell,
a really heavy kettlebell, sure, sure.
which
I mean,
sounds
they're fun.
expensive.
It's an, if you want to play with it, like certain movements where you can take a dumbbell or a kettlebell,
Hmm.
it's a fun thing to add. Like farmer's
Yeah,
carry, you could do dumbbells or kettlebells, sure,
yeah,
or like a frame. But yeah, I don't think kettlebell training needs to be uh, a part of your routine unless you want it to be.
yeah, yeah. I feel like they probably give you some functional movements as well, and I mean kettlebell swings are really good for like explosive stuff. But yeah, I agree. I don't think it's
It's
really.
like if you want to get better at kettlebell movements, do it,
Yeah.
right? And they're really challenging movements. I'm not
Hmm.
crapping on them. Like they're really hard. Like Turkish get up, right, is
Yeah.
ridiculously great
Yeah.
movement. Really good for your spinal health too. But it just depends on your goals.
Yeah.
What else is good for your spinal health? Steady, continuous progress with the deadlift,
Yep.
and yeah, you
Yep.
probably get bigger bang for your buck.
It's true, and you'll get more jacked probably.
Exactly, exactly. But they're not bad. They're not bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty
All
sure
right.
there's a. Sorry, one more. I feel like there's a Russian guy who got really jacked off of kettlebells, but I
Oh
don't know his
yeah. I
name.
mean, it's still resistance training. It's absolutely 100% still resistance training.
Yeah,
But you take, I mean, you take you who trains with kettlebells and you take you who trains with the resistance
yeah,
training devices, like
yeah,
you'll probably get more jacked and stronger
yeah,
overall
naturally.
than with kettlebells. But
Hmm.
they're very fun. And
Yeah,
also, I mean, maybe you just enjoy it and it's
yeah.
really fun. So it's definitely an option. Okay. A hobby one is what faction do you want to paint next? Not play,
Oh.
paint.
Uh, we paint. What?
Hey, bro, I paint as
Yeah,
long
I
as
know
there's tournament.
you do. You do. I guess I've already painted most of my Necrons, so I can't say Necrons because I like them the most because they're really easy to paint.
Mm, mm.
But it'll probably be the Emperor's Children.
That's
I
what I
would
was
also
thinking.
really like to make my Easterlings look prettier because they're pretty ugly. So that'd be nice. But I guess I'll say Emperor's Children.
I'm looking forward to see how you do with them.
Well, I
I
have
think
some
if you put a,
plans. I have some plans.
are you going with a classic pink and like a pink and black scheme?
Well, I want to do something lore accurate, and I just want to make sure it doesn't look completely awful.
Sure.
Because in the lore, they're not usually actually uniform color. They're all like different colors and like
Mm.
a riot of colors, and it's supposed to be hard to look
That's
at. And
cool.
so I was thinking maybe I would have some pink and black, some black and pink, some blue, and some ivory, some gold, some
I like that a lot.
some I don't know, other color. Uh, but I probably will just have like three or four variations and then do that for the army, and that might look good. Because I've seen armies where people try to make all the models look different and they do not work. They just never work. So
Well, if it's painful to look at, then it's a little accurate, right?
yeah, yeah,
Hey, my army is not poorly painted. It's just painful to look at, okay?
yeah.
For me, I actually got my friend to 3D print Krieg
Mm.
for me.
Oh, very nice,
So
very
I'm
nice.
pretty excited. It's for Kill Team. It's a Krieg
Yeah, I
warband for
figured.
Kill Team. Really fun models.
Mm.
Really fun 3D print models. There's like a priest
Yeah, those are
guy.
cool. Mm.
Yeah, so and I think they're going to be very simple. I would like to make it very grim dark, like dirty scheme,
Mm.
some dirt in there.
Mm.
So I'm excited to paint. I think it's going to be maybe like a week-long project. Not going to spend too
Nice,
much time with it. Yeah,
nice.
I'm excited for that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay. All right, this is going to be an interesting one is how do you handle negative self-talk? So
Mm.
this could be, comparing yourself to others, not wanting to go to the gym, lacking motivation. So
Mm.
how do you handle it, Eli?
That's a good question. It's hard to even explain. I usually just kind of I don't know, whenever I don't know if I have that much negative self talk personally. Depends. But I guess I just like whenever I have it, I should like remind myself that of my worth. From a religious aspect, remind myself that like God loves me, so I should at least
There you
have
go.
some love for myself in one way or another, which is different than what people might think it means. But yeah, I also I do appreciate like the occasional negative self talk though of like if I messed up, I'm gonna tell myself, "Wow, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that." Or like I need to do this better. I need to do these things better. I shouldn't be doing this right now, etc. Um, the negative like physique stuff, I've actually just I think I've just really just got past it at this point, which is nice.
Great. Okay.
After figuring out bodybuilding is purely genetics, it makes you feel a lot less bad when you see a 300-pound shredded guy on
Sure.
Instagram, knowing that it's probably impossible to ever look like that. Um,
Sure. Sure.
and at this point, like I've got to a point in the physique where I'm kind of actually just happy with how I look, even when I'm like overweight or when I'm lean. So I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a
I
lot. No,
guess
I
just
really
yeah, just perseverance as well. I guess like having a bad day, if I lack motivation, I do the like bare minimum that I know that I need to do, and then I like you can tell yourself like, oh, a lot of people wouldn't do anything. So I'm glad that I at least like worked on a video today, and I went to the gym, even if it wasn't a great workout, and I didn't want to make the video. I made the video, and I'm happy about that. I don't really
got something
like,
done.
yeah, on days like that, I kind of try to avoid being like trying to feel lazy or stupid or anything because it's like all like I know that this feeling will pass and that I'm having a bad day, so just get what needs to be done, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love actually a number of points you made. I mean, number one, we're both Christian men,
Mm-hmm.
so the fact that your worth comes from you being created in God's image is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you don't have a religious background, recognizing that number one, negative self-talk is not going to do anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's useless. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
It happens. It's real. You have to acknowledge it. And you even made a point about like recognizing and being accountable, recognizing your own faults, so you're
Mm-hmm.
not, I don't believe you are perfect as you are. I don't
Mm-hmm.
fall into that category. I think everybody has a lot of things they need to work on,
Mm-hmm.
but I think anybody can start,
Yeah.
right? Nobody's too far gone, right? If you're 50 years old now and you've been unhealthy all your life, you can still make changes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So it's about doing the right thing, not the convenient thing.
Yeah.
And 100% all of us, even the best, highest performers in the world, have a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing you're not defined by your worst mistake, right? You're not defined by your failures, and doing the right thing, not the convenient thing, and also comparing yourself to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said,
Yeah.
it's good to be inspired by others, right? When I look at you, super lean and jacked and bodybuilding ready, I'm like, oh man, Eli's looking great. And that
Mm-hmm.
kind of motivates me to look, get more, maybe more
Mm-hmm.
shredded. But at the same time, I have to recognize, okay, well, that's Eli, that's me.
Yeah.
So it's my goal is to get better than me. Eli's goal is to get better than himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the person who asked, I didn't shout him out. Quam VP17. It's a Vint Quam, a great guy on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's Vint against Vint,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's you against you. So that's one way to handle negative self-talk.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you're having a bad day, you need to just remind yourself that you're not every day is going to be a bad day. Just
Yeah,
do what you can, and then take some time to yourself to do something you enjoy that maybe doesn't stress you out. Like I think I was telling you, maybe I feel like I told you, I don't remember. I take ashwagandha regularly, uh, and when I came back from my trip, I got a different brand that I usually get because it was on sale. And like a fool, I didn't actually check the amount that was in it. I just assumed it was the same as the other one. So
yes.
I was taking double the amount that I normally took, and for like a whole week I was just feeling like melancholic and numb and just like felt like I wanted to do nothing and I
No
was just feeling
stress in your
sad.
system.
Yeah. And but then like after a couple of days of that I was like, yeah, this isn't normal. Clearly I'm doing something to make this happen. And even the days that I was sad, I made my video. Had a crappy workout. I went home. I played video games because like I needed to just like chill out because I
Yeah,
knew that I wasn't feeling good. But then I checked the bottle. I was like, oh, I'm taking twice as much. It's probably that. Um, and knowing that it
yeah,
comes from somewhere, finding the source of if you are depressed or you're feeling bad, finding the source of what it is makes it a lot easier to cope with because it's like,
yeah.
oh, now all I have to do now is take less of this thing and I'll feel better in a couple days. And I just need to like manage this for a few days. And but yeah, check your ashwagandha
Check your
supplement
ashwagandha. I love it.
label and don't take too much
Yeah.
because it will make you sad. I off topic a little bit, but I looked it up online and guys were saying like this makes me want to kill myself. Should I keep taking it? It's like
No, no.
no, obviously not.
If anything makes you feel that way, stop taking it.
It's unbelievable.
Oh goodness. Oh.
Yeah, but that was just
On
that.
the topic of supplements, actually, we'll check in a few podcasts from now. I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently read a couple studies actually on turmeric,
Yeah.
and not turmeric. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I know the turmeric does actually have benefits though.
Oh, you know what? Can't remember what it is.
All right.
It's a spice.
Okay.
I will find out. But in the meantime, how about Eli? You tell me. Sarge dot 1010 is asking. I'm going to ask you this question specifically. Is if you had to change the 40K line of sight rules, what would you
Uh,
do?
well, I would change terrain completely. First of all, I hate their terrain rules right now. They suck.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
I think just like regular line of sight, like it used to be, if a model can see another model, not their toe or their base, but like actually, I don't know. I feel like there used to be a percentage before, uh, like a quarter of the model. I guess I don't really remember what the actual percentage was, but a feasible thing that you could actually shoot at. That model should shoot at the model that it can see. It can't kill anything else. The rest of your unit
Ooh,
that can't see that unit also cannot shoot, only models that can see other models can shoot at those models and kill those models.
Like
And
it.
that's just how it should be. That's how it was. That's how it was before. It should not be base to base. It should not be one model can see one model so the entire units can shoot and kill the other unit. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, it's silly. Yeah, if you have one guy sticking out and now you have 30 shots from this unit going to that one guy, you can kill all five of them somehow.
Yeah.
A little odd. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. Yeah, like all 30 guys can shoot, but you're gonna kill one guy.
Mm, yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
Because bullets
Yeah,
don't
in
go around walls. So.
you know what I really don't like is Middle Earth line of sight looms.
Oh, really? Really?
This is just if you cross a model, you cannot see. So even if you guys on a horse and I'm shooting through my goblin, and he's like, my goblin is here, another goblin is here, your horse is here, your horse is huge, but if line of sight is technically going through my goblin's model,
Yep.
I can't shoot
Well,
you.
because there's technically a chance that you could hit your goblin. I mean,
Well, yeah, so I could shoot, right? I
yeah.
could shoot, but it's silly because like you're a freaking big guy on a horse, and my goblin is like, what?
Yep. No, I understand that. It is annoying.
Yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, I understand why it works that way. I think it does. It could be maybe a little bit different, but technically, since you are shooting the guy on the horse, you have to then roll to see if you hit the guy or the horse. So then,
Sure,
if you
sure,
hit the
yeah. I'm
horse,
not shooting
you
the
could have
guy.
been
Yeah.
shooting through your goblins, and uh,
Right. So I understand it, but especially when some of the models are so drastically different,
yeah,
like my goblin goes up to the bottom of the horse's torso.
yeah,
It's like, come on, I cannot shoot you. I don't need it.
yeah.
And then when you have like horse here, and you have like fight going on here, and then like my goblin is here, so I have to shoot for like five guys
Yeah,
and get
because
to
it
the
would make
horse.
it would make more sense if they were arcing the shot and then hitting the
Right,
guy. But
exactly. Like make it harder for me to
yeah,
shoot. There's models in between, -1 to hit, -2 to hit.
hmm
But it's anyway. But
hmm
yeah, I like what you say. I mean, what you say is make perfect, 100% perfect sense.
yeah.
The supplement is saffron.
Ah,
And there's a lot of research in the last 7 years, I would say. There's about 4 or 5 studies
mm.
that found that it has as effective antidepressant properties as
Oh,
moderate and mild doses of antidepressants.
dang, that's interesting.
Very interesting. Very
Mm,
interesting. And I am prone to like low moods.
hmm
So I wouldn't say depression, but like lower moods.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in taking a lower dose of it and seeing,
Huh.
8
Yeah,
weeks. See what happens.
it tastes good too. Last I checked, it's just
Yes,
expensive.
it
I'm
does.
pretty sure.
It is. In supplement form, it's a little bit cheaper
Okay,
than buying a spice, but yeah, it is expensive.
interesting, interesting.
Yeah. I'll check in about a month or two, see
hmm
how it's working.
Very good.
Okay, let's do one more fitness question,
hmm
and I think it's going to be a relatively comprehensive one. Is how much time to rest between sets,
Ah,
and how much time is too much?
ah.
And that's
Uh,
Roger_CFH is asking that.
might be more comprehensive from you, less from me. I think I don't actually even time my rests anymore. I kind of just intuitively go when I'm ready again now. But it depends on the exercise you're doing. If you're doing 1 rep maxes, you can rest for 4 to 5 minutes, and it won't like take too much away from you.
Yeah.
If you're doing like sets of 10, 4 to 5 minutes, you're probably just gonna lose your pump, and then it's like, eh.
What was the point?
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah, you don't need that much rest time in between. If you're doing like high reps, high intensity stuff, generally 30 seconds to 2 minutes of rest is pretty reasonable. If you're doing heavy compound lifts or just heavy lifts in general that are like around 3 reps to, I would say, 7 or even 8 reps, I think 2 to 3 minutes is pretty good. Anything below
Yeah.
3 reps, I think 4 to 5 minutes is good. There is actual science around all this stuff that I did learn before. I don't know if I remember any of it, but there is a certain threshold for how long you can rest before your like nervous system and your muscles kind of just
Sure,
relax and you lose
sure.
your readiness to work out. And I think 5 to 6 minutes is like the max kind of before you really start to lose all
Cool
of it.
down.
But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're spot on with your ranges. I think it bottom line depends, right? It
hmm
depends on so many variables.
hmm
There are four main ones I would say is when I explain it to my clients, right? One is how many reps per set,
hmm
right? And like you said, if you're doing 1 rep, right, 1 rep max, you can rest up to 5 minutes and be fine
hmm
because that's going to take a lot out of your central nervous system.
yeah,
If you are doing, so number one is number of reps. Number two is a type of exercise,
hmm
right? If you're doing quad extensions, you probably need less rest in between sets compared to squats. Even though they target similar muscles, squats are going to be much heavier, much more taxing on your central nervous system. 3, I would say, is genetics.
True.
I work out with people who do the same weight as me, and it's as hard for them. I'm thinking of Chuck Moore, strength hammer, and he needs like a minute and a half. I need 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're doing literally the same thing at the same intensity.
Yep.
So what the heck is that?
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense besides just genetics. And the last one is, kind of a half point, I would say, is types of sets you're doing, which is that's written into the programming. Are you doing supersets? Are you doing drop sets? Are you doing pause rest? And that's just going to be programming dependent how much rest you take between sets, right? With pause rest, I think it's like 12, 15 seconds in between. Supersets, no rest in between, things of that nature. So yeah, there's 3.5, 4 main variables. Generally, anywhere between 1 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, yeah, if you can do shorter rest times if you want to be out of there faster as well.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah, bottom line, it's do you bring your muscle close to failure, and do you do enough volume? And yeah, that's why I love supersets and drop sets, because it's so time efficient. Awesome. I think those are all the questions for today.
Okay.
Have
Very
a
nice.
couple more we'll save for next time we do a Q&A.
Yeah, comment your questions below if you have any more, or send us them on Instagram as well. Deadlifts with the Dark Odds and fit_hammer.
Absolutely. We love answering your questions. Hopefully you like listening to our responses. All right. If you are ready to start your health and fitness journey, go to grimdarkgains.com for an 8-week Nerds Complete Guide to nutrition and fitness. You can find Eli at Deadlifts for the Dark Gods and myself at fit_hammer on Instagram and YouTube. You can find a link to Grimdark Gains Discord on our Instagram at Grimdark Gains or our personal Instagram accounts. Thank you, and until next time, stay Warhammer strong.
Very well. Love you. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.